Taking a moment to stand by a bench of mine, made in an environment structured to resemble something I once found comfort in. Nothing was between the fiery horizon and me but a glass wall created by my very own thoughts. I've played Minecraft for many years, roughly 12 if I remember correctly, and during that time, same as many others, I had many memories formed and skills forged. Many of my earliest Minecraft memories are of me and my family playing together via any device we could get our hands on, which at the time consisted of an early iPod Touch and a Kindle Fire HD that I still have to this day. Playing on early PE was incredible amounts of fun, creating houses, castles, villages, our own little trading economy, and so much more, all within the little space the world gave us to thrive. While my Java experience was shrunk down to simply watching my brother play old Vex CTM maps like Kaizo Caverns and Spellbound Caves. As a child, I desperately clung to the hope that I could publicly play the Java edition same as my brother, and as an incredibly poor 9-year-old at the time with about $1 to my name, I didn't have the money to spend on the luxury of a premium Minecraft account. Thus, I had to simply stick to the cracked version of the game my older brother passed around to me, where I would finally start my own little Minecraft adventure series, all recorded on an old iPod Nano I had set in front of the keyboard while playing. After my parents had enough of the nagging, however, a few years later, I finally got them to purchase me a Minecraft account, and I believe I officially joined the game in what is to date still my favorite version of the game and the one I consider home. Update 1.7. Soon after that, I finally started playing with my old best friend on servers like MC Fallout and Mineplex as the days went on. We played minigames together, forged alliances and faction servers, experienced stories that felt like adventure films to us. Though, of course, as time ticked by, as it does with all things, everything I once knew started to rapidly change around me. As my favorite game modes, along with some of my favorite servers, all started closing down, and my best friend stated to me at one point that he was tired of playing the game and wanted to move on from it. And as Minecraft was the only connection we really had, we barely spoke to each other after that. Things were starting to fall apart, and I had no idea why. I was standing strong by the idea that something wasn't right, that there was perhaps a reason I had been left alone in this vacant land, this land in which I had experienced so much of by the one who came with me through it all. Luckily, someone I was and still am incredibly close with to this day kept pushing me to try new things, helping me with roleplays in which I would never release, motivating and working with me to create a Minecraft server that lasted for 2 long and peaceful years, inspiring the creative side of me to keep thriving while he kept his eyes on the objective side. We kept each other in check, and even though it feels as if we aren't as close as we used to be, we still bounce off of each other to this day. Now, back on topic, Minecraft itself is a complex game, and has become even more so over the past decade. It has a large multitude of mechanics and has very unique gameplay for its time. It's a game about mining, building, going on adventures, and occasionally reaching the game's literal end. And I found it frustrating that no one no longer pursued what else this world provided that many others didn't. What is that, you might ask? Well, I told myself that it was the players that were no longer letting their creativity drive the game. That they were only following a linear path of playing a minigame over and over again, getting bored after some time, and then leaving. Never giving themselves the chance to experience the game's original nature by passing it off as boring. I told myself that it was the Minecraft community's new definition of creativity that had changed the flow of the game. Back in its early days, the game was no more than a simple outline on a piece of paper. It gave the players some basis and let them do the rest. There were very few distractions from servers like Hypixel or Mineplex, as the base game was still the main attraction. Players came to Minecraft and not because of a minigame they saw on the internet, but because they were filled with the desire to explore as far as they would like, go on mining expeditions, build beautiful structures, craft a story of their own. The world was your piece of artwork, and it was up to you to shape it in any way you would like as its artist. Beyond that, I also told myself that one of the game's key foundations had been ripped from its core over the years. I'm talking about the game's sense of discovery. All those times we found our first mineshaft, village, temple, or stronghold were all times we felt as though we had accomplished something amazing. Each and every time we would figure out a crafting recipe by screwing around with random items in a crafting table, we would look back at our previous selves and think about how far we had come. Now, those answers are given to us from the very beginning. Crafting recipes are no longer a mystery. Strongholds can be easily located. Hell, even diamonds, the game's once staple resource and hardest to find material, is no longer a challenge to uncover. Of course, these aspects of the game still exist in its fundamental body, though funny enough, as time went by, the internet that had grown up alongside the community we all took part in was beginning to pummel us with every bit of information we would ever need to know, forfeiting the possibility of discovery this game held so close to its core. Sure, there are many competitive aspects of the game I do truly enjoy participating in and watching, and sure, those small sub-communities that appreciate the game for what it was still exist. Though, strangely enough, even though attempting to thrive off the game's foundation, are being overrun by what the game and the community themselves have turned into. I still remember the days when I had to figure out crafting recipes on my own by screwing around with random items in a crafting table or asking my older brother. Messing with redstone mechanics with little to no access to the internet or tutorials and figuring out what blocks fit together for my build without being told what to do or how to do it. Unlike today, back then, we didn't have a recipe book. We didn't have a community of tens of millions of people assisting us. It was just you and the game. The game was becoming more and more a coloring book, providing the players with essentially the same experience, but with what felt like its newfound audience stripping it of all of its meaning. And like a forest fire giving itself all the fuel it needs to flourish, it spread deep into the alluring depths this community once had, encouraging the new players to stop letting their creativity take the wheel and play the game how they were told, making you fill inside the lines they provided instead of making your own as it once was. You see, that's what was in my head for so long, and was also what felt so out of place. I told myself that the game in its current state was throwing so much at you, filling your mind with alternative ways to kill your friends and new strategies to exploit, not leaving you for even a second to think, what should I do next or why am I here? Never allowing your thoughts to do the work they originally set out to do. It's in a moment like that where the game gets one of its most powerful epiphanies. It's in a moment like that where I felt my love for the game surge and face me again, eye to eye. I was in a recently created world of mine, doing nothing, not having an objective in mind, not working towards an end goal, just standing there, next to my simple wooden house by a bench I made around a year ago. And as the sun finally reached its climax just before taking a knee under the horizon, the last note of my sunbeams hit me hard as the world around me became coated in a gentle shadow. Even though this world wasn't my oldest, and even though it wasn't my first time staring off into the game's unforgettable horizon, one tear after another started rolling down my face. For a few moments, it felt as though I could see and paint on that vague canvas once again, but had the structure as if it was drawn up by a completely different artist. It was nice to be in the presence of such a familiar sentiment, yet worrisome all the same. Finally, I started confronting myself with the question I should have been asking all along. Was it the game itself that had changed, or was it me? The only thing I'm at least a little sure of is that One thing I truly missed about the game wasn't only its unforgettable sense of discovery, but the time it was in as well. The time I could clearly see but was stuck under a glass floor no one could or ever was supposed to shatter. The time where we knew nothing. When school was a blur, I was simple, and Minecraft was as well. Finally, having found an answer to that eerie feeling that was looming around me when I was a child, I've discovered that even though I tried multiple times to follow in my old friend's footsteps, I just couldn't bring myself to leave the game as well as you all behind without making peace with myself as well as finding my own farewell. I've rewritten this entire script more times than I can count, and I still don't think I gave the experience the game provided me justice. I don't think this will be the last Minecraft video I'll ever make, nor will it be the last time I revise this script. Though what I do think is that I guess it just shows that every canvas has its age and artist their time. We were never meant to traverse this dreamlike reality forever, never meant to tarnish its new audience. This game has taught me many things, and one of them is a message that it was trying to deliver from the very beginning. At the end of the game, after finally jumping into the portal to return home, a 7-minute and 42-second poem states within it the following. Too strong for this dream. To tell them how to live is to prevent them from living. I will not tell the player how to live. The player is growing restless. These few words I had ignored hundreds of times are the words that still to this day hold true to the game's philosophy. This is a game in which all the choice resides with you. To tell each other how to live out that story is to take away their optimal way of living, their optimal way of playing. This message is what I've lived by for so long, and this message is one I play the game to this day. To those of you who wish to see the game as a simple Skywars match or a modded adventure, go right ahead. Live out the dream you yourself wish to compile. As for me, I'll be here, where it all officially started for me. Prior to 1.9, home in 1.7, painting the canvas I wish to see. Or perhaps just maybe being stuck to that old canvas myself, I too think it's nearing the time for me to put down my brush and take a break. Time for me to take my feet off that sandy beach many of us have woken up on time and time again and find another canvas to paint. I'll be watching and wishing you all the best of luck as the rest of you continue on where I, my old best friend, and many others like us left off. But this time, at least for now, I'll be keeping my feet firmly by my home, letting my thoughts finally take their rest at the river's basin, and allowing my consciousness to accept and welcome that so familiar shadow, all while following the sun's example and taking my final knee.